Get started. Oh, excellent. Small turnout today. All right. So, welcome to the next edition of Scalable Web Programming. Today, we're going to focus on browser and client-related stuff. So it's really kind of the starting point for most courses about programming on the web. But I thought there was enough material that that sort of provided context to this that I wanted to put it a little bit later on. At any rate, let's see. So Ed and Aditya and I spent some time on Sunday kind of getting all the projects to run and looking at them. And I think we, on the whole, really were pleased with what we saw. We saw lots of really fun experiments. And I think that I'm glad that I gave an easy enough problem that people were willing to try lots of different things. If I'd made the problem too difficult, maybe people would have only focused on one or two different APIs. But we got about, I think, 8 or 9 different APIs used by various people, and one of the more creative ones was people. The display showed sports players' jerseys, and so it had the numbers from various sports players displayed on the screen, and I thought that was pretty clever. So, it was just a very inventive way of using a search API and then doing something that was visually interesting and still fulfilled the basic requirements of the assignment. And there were some nice touches, like you could switch between NBA or NFL or whatever. So you could see jerseys and headshots of various different players. So a lot of fun. Anyway, so the assignments were really interesting, and we hope to sort of do a more interactive discussion on Thursday with everybody about the assignments. And if all goes well, we'll even have them graded by the end of the week. So, but the thing that we'd like to do on Thursday is just spend a little bit of time working on creating teams and letting people know, what we thought the most creative assignments were, and how we think we can split the class up into different groups. So, but before we get to that on Thursday, I'd like to take just a little bit of time to go over a few things that we ran into as we were getting these bits of code to run. So we actually had relatively few projects that worked completely out of the box for us, where all we had to do was unpack the assignment and hit run, and we'd be able to view the results. And I figured that with this assignment it'd be just good to cover a couple of the little things that we ran into, so that it's less likely that you run into them as you're working together in teams. So the most common thing that we ran into was that people put absolute file references to the external jars that they included with their projects, and so we actually had to either download them again, or if we happened to have them on our system, we had to link to them. Oh, by the way, none of this stuff was part of the grade. It's just sort of the reason I'm bringing all of this stuff is that for me, being scalable as a programmer means sort of knowing what other people expect of your code when you ship it to them. There were a couple of cases where there were deleted files that were referenced, and so when you tried to compile the system complained about the files being missing. I hadn't specified Java version 5 or version 6, so in a few cases we had projects that were in 6 that needed 5 that complained when they were trying to run on 5 and vice versa. Yeah, and then, every now and then we ran into things with missing documentation, maybe a missing README or, something that would have helped us figure out more quickly what we needed to do. And among missing things we found every now and then were things that were taken out of the DOM that caused the pages to break.
Could you either have someone send out an email or just
Yeah.
to the external jar thing?
Sure.
I found a way of including it, but I didn't know if it copied it.
Yeah, it's much easier to just link to them from wherever they are in your file system. The trick is actually that there's a library folder, and you can even using Eclipse copy them into the library folder and then link to them from there. But we can send an email out with all of this stuff. I just thought I'd go over it very briefly in class. So yeah, as we work in teams, the goal is always to let your code run out of the box. And getting into that habit just makes your life a whole lot easier down the road. And the practice of doing it actually gets you more familiar with all of the IT kind of stuff that can help make a company run smoother down the line.